What's going on, Tom Tribe? Welcome back for another episode of Texas on My Mind.
Yep.
I got with me one of my good buddies, George Faber, from originally from Tyler, Texas, but lives in Austin, Texas here now. George Faber is a account director, right?
Yeah,
Senior account director.
Senior account.
What's your title nowadays?
We just changed a couple weeks ago, but
No way.
Director
Okay, this is news to me.
Director of Client Solutions.
Director of Client Solutions at Insight Global.
Yeah.
Awesome. I've known you for going on 12, 13 years now. We met at Insight Global, where I still currently work. And he's a good friend of mine. He's a born Texan, and he was in my wedding party, and he's just a really close friend of mine. So I'm very excited that you decided to take up my proposal to join the podcast with me.
Yeah, man,
brother.
this is awesome, and we've talked about it for a while. So
there you go.
It's pretty sweet to.
Yeah,
it's one thing for somebody to say something, and it's another thing for them to go through and execute with it. So
that's right, brother. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, when you came over for I think my daughter's birthday, I had to show you how we had the studio set up and everything like that. But I know you're not drinking because you're about to head out to New York, I think, this week. But hey, we got Topo Chico.
There we go.
That'll be the
you guys
refreshment of the episode.
Let us know,
there you go. Topo Chico, another Mexican, but we'll count it as a Texan drink, right? Because everybody drinks it here.
It's close enough. Close enough.
Awesome, sir. Well, thank you so much again for joining. You've been on a couple podcasts, I think, in the past, so this is nothing new to you.
I did one with. I think it was Men Doing Business, I think, with Brad Key and, who else was on there? But, yeah, that was a few years ago.
Yeah, that was Joe and Brad and was it the Total Frat Move gang?
Total Frat Move
I remember that. Yeah, that was cool.
That was fun.
Yeah, another Austin-based, I guess they're not around anymore, but an Austin-based kind of podcast. But yeah, I guess we can kind of start. I just wanted to kind of obviously get you on, talk a little bit about your background. You're a man of many talents, but I know you were born and raised in Tyler, Texas.
Yep.
Maybe we could start there. Give us kind of the synopsis, if you will, of you growing up and what it was like kind of being born and raised Tyler.
Yeah. So born and raised, as you stated, in Tyler, the 903. So
903.
Still got the. I've been too lazy to change my cell phone number to 512 all these years. Still got
Me
it.
neither. I haven't made it over yet.
I'm probably not. But born and raised there. Parents are both from East Texas as well. Grandparents also from East Texas area. So, Texas native my entire life.
Yeah.
Really. Went through elementary, middle school, high school there. Got fortunate, got a scholarship to a D2 school, and I think it's D1 AA now, but school, Abilene Christian University.
Oh, cool.
So I went and played football there
in Abilene, Texas.
Okay,
gotcha.
Yep. So the Wildcats, and I went and played football there for 2 years. Realized I wasn't going to the NFL. So I transferred out. I was like, I saw some guys around me that were really good, and I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be those guys.
Yeah, just didn't kind of stack up against that crew, unfortunately.
No, so transferred to UT here in Austin.
Gotcha.
Economics business, and graduated and started working at where both of us still work now at Insight Global.
There you go.
Moved back to Dallas, where I started my career with the company, and then had an opportunity to come back the following year to Austin with one of our other good friends, Everett Crump.
Yep.
And so, that opportunity opened up, and haven't looked back since. I guess that was, 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, man. It's a little bit about the journey.
There you go. So you've kind of traveled all through Texas, east, west, central, hill country, everything. Is your family still in Tyler, or are they?
Majority. Well, I take that back. So parents are still in Tyler.
Okay.
A lot of my cousins and sister, they're in Dallas.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
the vast majority of my family is still in Texas, or still in the kind of East Texas area.
I gotcha. Yeah. So Tyler it's considered East Texas. It's
It's the biggest city in East Texas.
It's the biggest city in East Texas.
I mean, I hope
it's not
somebody
as
might
east
fact
as,
check me, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
Yeah, it's not as far east as say like a Lufkin and Nacogdoches though, or is it? We're in comparison.
That's more. So Tyler's a little bit. Though Lufkin and Nacogdoches are a little bit more south, if I'm correct. I hope I'm getting my whole geography correct here, but that's a little bit south of Tyler.
Yeah.
So Tyler, I think the population's not really that big. It's probably maybe like 105 now, 110,000, but
yeah,
it's the central hub of East Texas. So if you're from Palestine, which is where Adrian Peterson's from, if if you're from White House, which is where Patrick Mahomes is from, or any other places, like they all come to Tyler. That's where you have your mall. It's where most of your shopping's done.
Yeah, all the commerce is done in Tyler, Texas. That's kind of the hub of all of East Texas. Yeah, I feel like it's like one of those towns like that's like one of the big little towns.
That's exactly
in
what
Texas.
I would say it is.
Yeah, because I feel like even when I went to school at A&M, and I feel like I constantly went and visited friends at Texas or things like that. They all had good buddies and quite a few buddies that were originally from Tyler.
Yep. Well, yeah, a lot of people go to A&M.
A lot of people went to A&M. Yeah.
A lot of people went to A&M.
Met a few.
Yeah, absolutely. You had to have known some of them.
Yeah. So they just kind of dispersed across all the big state schools.
Pretty much. Texas. I feel like if I had to think back, I feel like a majority of people tried to go to A&M, and then a fair amount went to TCU. I think everybody else just kind of scattered, kind of around.
Just made their way around.
Yeah.
So you said your parents, what did they do for a living? What kind of brought you to Tyler, or were they born and raised?
Yeah, so they were born and raised in East Texas.
Okay.
So my dad's from Kilgore, and my mom's from a really
very familiar with Kilgore.
Very small. It's not even a town. It's an area. It's a geographical area in the middle of the country, in East Texas, called Anadarko, Texas. Anadarko. Yeah.
Anadarko. Okay, we got to look that one up.
Good luck finding. It's like population 70 or something.
No way.
Oh yeah, it's like in the middle of nowhere. But
gotcha.
But they met at SFA. So they went to
in
East
Nacogdoches.
Nacogdoches.
Right? Nacogdoches.
Yep.
Okay,
So a lot of people in East Texas, at least my parents' age, most of the folks all went to SFA when they graduated high school. So they met there. My dad was actually finishing getting his master's. And my mom was 4 years. I think she's 4 years younger than my dad is.
Gotcha.
And so, anyways, they met there. Both my parents started off as teachers.
Yeah.
My dad is a musician.
Wow.
In Tyler, so that's probably what he's mostly known for, is just a jazz musician, and he's been playing for decades for probably half the weddings in Tyler.
No way.
That's incredible. And I probably played for 1/10 of those when I was growing up.
No way.
I started playing at weddings when I was like, I must have been like 11 or something when I started playing at my first wedding, which is just insane now that I'm older to think we've had our weddings.
I know,
if I saw like an 11-year-old back there in the back, like playing, but I was ripping it though.
There you go.
It worked. So
what like musical instruments did your dad play or continues to play, and what did you play in the band back in the day?
He plays piano. He actually plays a lot. So he can play the bass. He plays all of it, right?
Okay.
That was his major in college.
Okay.
So like he's a very, very talented musician. So but he primarily plays the piano. I play drums.
Okay.
My mom is a singer, and so we would just kind of all together. We would go and
you formed your own Faber band.
Quite literally had the Faber. His band was called Faber and Friends.
No way. Is he still playing with Faber and Friends?
Yeah,
we're gonna give him a plug out on the podcast.
If you go into East Texas, if you go into Tyler on any given weekend, he's probably doing something or doing the weekdays.
There you go.
Now, yeah. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, I had a blast doing that, and honestly, looking back, like it was really special because I got to spend a lot of time with my dad, and what like a way to spend time with your dad, like doing something that also he enjoys and that you enjoy, and like you kind of get to do it together, and being a musician it's so much fun, man. Like I mean, you get to like give people that experience of happiness and joy, and it's like the best feeling in the world when you're up there on stage and you just got 1,000 people cranking back at you. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I can imagine. Yeah. I unfortunately didn't get the musical bone in my family. I just remember as a kid, I grew up in Dallas, right? And me and my dad took guitar lessons together. We were taking guitar lessons together, I guess, starting when I was like in 5th grade or something like that. And, I actually started getting into it because this was like the Blink 182 days.
Oh, yeah.
So like all I wanted to do was learn how to play, that type of like pop rock, or what is it called? Punk rock type
punk
music,
rock.
right?
Yeah.
And I feel like my dad started taking up pretty well, but I have a brother who's about 4.5 years younger than me. He was kind of like, he's the creative one in the family. And so he like at a young age, and I really wish my parents did this with me. They were like, you're learning the piano.
Yep.
We're having a teacher over every single day or every single week, at least 2 or 3 times a week. And now he learned to play the drums.
Yeah.
So he's played the drums in like middle school, high school, and then that naturally became learning to play, learn to produce music or put together, DJ music. So he got and he actually did some Inside Global parties.
He did.
Remember back in the day?
He did
a couple Christmas parties.
He did your bachelor party too.
Oh yeah,
he put together, and he was ripping it.
For some reason, don't remember that as clearly.
He was ripping it.
Than some of the Inside Global parties back in the day. No, yeah, he. But yeah, I mean, damn, I wish, and I do remember at your wedding when you got up there, I think, and did a drum solo. Is that correct? Am I remembering that correctly?
No, that wasn't at the wedding. I did that.
You've done some drum solos before.
Here's where I did do
events.
it. I did it at an Inside Global event.
That's what it was.
In 2015, I got up on stage with Garrett Bond and David Evans.
That's right.
And we got up there and we ripped one for and that was, I can't remember. I guess maybe we were in Orlando or something like that.
Probably.
We had to have been.
Back when we used to do conferences.
Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah, what the hell? Had to get rid of those. But
hey, Bert,
okay, I guess for some reason I thought it was your wedding. But yeah, I mean, obviously you still got it. I don't know the last time you've been behind a drum set.
When I was at home,
2015,
during Thanksgiving, a couple of weeks ago. So my dad's got the he's got the music studio. So get in there.
Amazing.
And, yeah, we just started playing some stuff, and I really enjoy it. I mean, I don't do it nearly as much as I want to now. I mean, everything's just about time and having the space to do it. But it's really therapeutic.
I bet. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got a guitar still in my office, and I need to, between the 50 other hobbies I have, I guess now, pick it up again. But we'll see. But that's awesome. So you learned how to play music through your family, obviously.
Yep.
Where'd you go to high school again?
It's called Tyler Legacy now.
Tyler Legacy.
Yeah. So
or it was Lee, right?
It used to be Robert E. Lee, and they changed it to Tyler Legacy like 4 or 5 years ago.
Gotcha.
So
you did go to. It used to be called Robert E. Lee or Tyler Lee.
Yep.
And the other one was
John Tyler.
Yep. Gotcha. Those are the two major high schools.
Those are the two, and so John Tyler's where Earl Campbell went.
That's
to,
right.
School.
We do have some famous people from Tyler.
We got a couple. I mean, Pat Mahomes would be the
exactly. You already mentioned one
relevant one for everybody now, but
right. So he's like, you said Whitaker or
White House.
White House. Okay.
White House is White House. It's literally. I don't even know if I would almost say it's almost a part of Tyler. Maybe it's 5 minutes outside of Tyler.
Okay.
But I mean, it's just kind of hard. I mean, like, yes, they do have their own high school or whatever, but it's effectively.
But it's basically
Tyler.
like part of the metroplex of Tyler.
If you got a 903 zip code, then you're part of Tyler.
Gotcha.
Like that's kind of. I think
so. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs. You got Earl Campbell, big UT guy.
There's
obviously
been several.
He's got some barbecue joints around Austin still, I think.
yeah, he does.
At the airport, he used to.
They. Man, I'm trying to just. I mean, there's a lot of people that maybe they're not at at like a Patrick or Campbell level, but East Texas is. I mean, Adrian Peterson would be another good
Palestine,
example.
You mentioned, yeah.
So
you guys do have some pretty stellar athletes,
incredible athletes that come out of East Texas
the area.
Oh yeah.
You also have a pretty incredible Texas country artist, right? Paul Cawthon.
Paul
is
Cawthon.
Originally from Tyler, Texas, if I remember correctly.
Is Paul pretty big? No.
I mean, I feel like I started getting into them because I had a buddy, which you've met, Trey Simpson, and John Hubbard, that live in San Antonio. But I guess Trey went to Texas Tech with Paul.
Yep.
Or knew him through college or something like that, and he got me into him 2016. But I feel like I shit you not, I was in Charleston for a wedding, for one of my friend's weddings, Austin Mercer, a couple weeks ago, and he was headlining one of the major musical venues in Charleston, South Carolina. So he tours outside of Texas, and he's he's still putting out some hits.
Good for him, man.
Big hits.
He's
making it.
He's been grinding for a very long time. So
I know,
I
right?
remember that back in high school. I mean, yeah, we used to all, hang out. He's a little bit older than I am, but
okay.
Still we would see each other a lot. And so yeah, he kind of went on his own journey, and it's been a hell of a journey for him. So it's good to see him.
A fun journey.
It's been a fun journey. Yeah,
lots
of fun stuff.
But, I just remember there was a time when like you came over. I lived in a condo on Rainey Street when I was still kind of unmarried, I guess, single, but also, when I was engaged with my now wife.
You're allowed to live,
and I remember you
came
over,
Street.
You would come over and you're like, dude, check this out. This guy from Tyler just came out with this, he just dropped this album, and I think you played Holy Ghost Fire by Paul Cawthon. I was like, dude, I know Paul. And you're like, how? And I'm like, dude, he's making it.
Yeah, man.
Hey, if you got a Wikipedia page, you're big.
You're doing
all
right.
You're doing okay.
There's another guy named Ty Graham, and I don't know how big Ty is doing now or not, but he was also, him and Paul used to play together all the time, and Ty last I don't get on Instagram or that stuff too often, but I think he's still pumping out music too, and he is an incredible singer and guitar player, and he writes his own stuff. Wow. So I'd actually
Ty Graham. I'm gonna check him out.
So we'll have to do it after, but
yeah,
he's also pretty.
If it's like the same type of
different vibe,
really
different vibe, but like he's, gosh, it's just a different vibe type of music.
But they used to play together.
Yes, because we're all from They lived like a couple houses down from each other, so like you're gonna see them a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to check him out because, I feel like Paul's changed too. Like I remember just really getting into his first album. I used to play I'll Be the One like on repeat like all the time.
Yeah.
And then he had this like real, country.
It's like folky.
Very folksy sound.
Country,
and now
Has it shifted a little bit?
Oh my God. Yeah. Remember
I had
Cocaine Country Dancing.
That's
I think it's changed a little bit.
That's the Paul I remember from back.
There you go.
No,
I think he switches back and forth. He kind of has this like, very, folksy, real, baritone type voice.
Yeah.
And then like, I think recently, the most recent song that I heard that he came out with was like 25 tequilas or whatever. I think it's called. Actually, I'm gonna have about 25 tequilas. It's pretty good. It's funny. It's a hilarious music
I'm gonna listen
video.
to it as soon as we wrap this up. Yeah,
give it a listen.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I love that. Cool. Okay, so you went to now Lee Legacy or
Tyler
Legacy.
Tyler Legacy now. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. You were on the football team.
Yep.
What made you do the jump to Abilene Christian?
Well, I mean, it was, if you put a scholarship in front of me, I'll definitely take a look. Yeah. So, I had a couple other looks. I had a kind of a bad injury my senior year. So I'm not that tall, right? I'm like 5'10" on a 5'10" and a half on a good day.
Yeah, there you go. You're. I think you for some reason you always like look taller to me, but I think we're the same height.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not that tall.
Definitely stockier than me. It's the traps.
It's got to be the traps.
The traps add about 3 inches.
I think it does.
There you go. Okay.
But so, I wasn't tall. I wasn't, anything like that. But what I was very good at, just diagnosing plays, and I was very quick to be able to do that. My speed was okay. I would say average to maybe below average for a linebacker. It was like a 4.6 or something. Nothing crazy, but okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But that being said, I was already kind of on the edge. I wasn't that big anyway, so I had a little bit of looks from like the SMUs of the world and like some of that, and then the
D1s.
The second I got, I thought I broke my ankle, but it was just a really bad high ankle sprain, and so that took me out like 3 or 4 games, and after that, it went from like a few of the D1 small ones to like none of them, and then all the D2 schools. Gotcha. And out of that, Abilene, I went to go visit, and it just seemed like a good program that they had, and that was, I mean, the time I was there, it was insane. We had 1, 2, 3. We either had 3 or 4 guys all go to the NFL. Not undrafted, like all between the 4th and 7th round.
Damn. Okay.
At a D2 school,
unheard of.
It was just wild. And so, like, one of them was a defensive end. Another one was Johnny Knox, who he was a wide receiver, and he went to, I think, the Chicago Bears when he got drafted. I think he went to the Pro Bowl his first year in the league. We had another guy named Bernard Scott. He was running back for the Cincinnati for, I don't know, a couple of years. He kind of moved around a little bit. But anyway, so there was 3 of them. And then there was another one, a guy named Clyde Gates, and he was another wide receiver. So like, and then, we had some other guys that went and played Canadian football. So anyways, it was kind of insane to like have that all at a D2 school.
Right.
So
all at the same time.
Right.
Especially.
So me just watching that, and I played. I got to play as a true freshman, so I was okay. But when you see those guys in and out, like, and you're just watching how big they are, how fast they are. You're like that's different. Like I'm not that.
No way.
I'm not that.
I mean, obviously you had all these athletes around you that were like pro bound. But
they were pro. Yeah.
But you're not that Abilene Christian's like. You're still playing like pretty decent schools. Like it's competition. Like
it's a good time, but look, you're playing. I'm not playing in front of 100,000 people. I'm playing in front of like 4,000 people.
It's like collegiate ball, Exactly.
The reason I transfer is because I got to see that. Which is, here's the other thing. In Tyler, football is everything. And so it was like not unheard of at all to have 10, 15, even 20,000 at a large playoff game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You're getting all the hype when you're in high school. So
we used to, when I was in on the Highland Park High School football team, we used to always do our first play. I think we did our state championship game.
Y'all would do it in Tyler.
Rose Stadium.
Yes.
Yeah,
I went to one of them.
It was like dug out
when Highland Park played.
Absolutely.
Wait, who was the quarterback?
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford. Yeah. And I went to that game. And
we played at least twice at the Texas Rose Stadium, or it was Rose Stadium, right? Because Tyler's known as the Rose capital of the world, right, or of America. And we played Texarkana, Texas High, which was Ryan Mallett versus Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
And then I'm pretty sure we played our state championship there against who was that against? Marshall.
Yeah.
Some Houston school, and we blew them out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was, it's great.
It was such a cool stadium.
It's a cool stadium, and to go from that atmosphere to when you go D2, in my opinion, you really got to love the game. All right, because like you're not doing it for all the hype and all that good stuff. Yeah. And so for me, it was just like, all right, well, it's run its course. I felt very fortunate to where, for me, sports was always something I enjoyed to do, but it wasn't my only escape. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go to school and just do economics, and
I like it.
Call it a day.
All right, awesome. So you transferred from Abilene Christian. I got a surprise for you.
What we got?
I think my A&M friends are gonna disown me, but I'm doing this, so I hope that
Are you going to the game?
No. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do something real quick. So I hope that you can tell us about your extracurricular activity that you did at University of Texas. Okay. So I'm gonna bust this out. Only doing this for you, George.
Wow.
I got the University of Texas polo on right now.
That's what I'm talking about.
And this is like
burning
it's burning my skin right now, but I'm
starting red.
Hey,
I like it.
I would do it. Hey, you guys had a hell of a season this year. You guys are in the freaking playoff, the
How did that
4-team
happen?
playoff.
But, I mean, my God.
You know, man. I'm not going to ever, I don't think you can twist my arm and say that I'll say Texas is back. But you guys are making waves.
We're not back. We're not back.
You're not back. I'll give you that. You're not back, but
well, I mean,
I think you got the right coach. I think you definitely got the right quarterback.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like, I just love watching y'all. As much as I hate to say it, I love watching y'all beat Alabama.
Well, I mean, have you been to the stadium in a while? Like, now they have like all the LED lights. I mean, it's like a freaking party when you walk in that thing.
I know. I mean, I haven't been to DKR in probably 4 years. So
we should go this next season. Let's go.
Well, we can talk about your fans, and that's so funny. You guys have a full stadium now. I wonder why. You guys don't like to go when you guys aren't having undefeated seasons.
It's a lot more fun when you're winning. It's a lot more fun when you're winning.
Yeah, 11-1 seasons.
Yeah. So my extracurricular while I was let's talk about it.
I love it.
So I go from college football to I get to I've been playing sports my whole life. I get to Texas. I'm like, man, I'm kind of like pretty bored.
Right.
I started doing real estate while I was there, and it dawned on me that a lot of the people that I was like leasing apartments to and getting little condos for, they were in sororities, and the best looking people so happened to be cheerleaders. And so I had a friend. How funny. Who would have thought?
There you go.
And so a girl I knew from Tyler, she was a cheerleader at UT, and she, we were going somewhere on campus, and she was like, you should try out for the cheerleading team. I'm like, I really don't, I don't really think so. I was like, I don't think so. But then she was like, why don't you just come to a practice?
Yeah. See what it's all about.
See what it's all about. Just check it out.
There you go.
And so, of course, I walk in. I'm just like, I was like, this is...
there's some talent here.
There's a little bit of talent. And
okay.
See, there's not a lot of me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. And so I was like, I like these odds.
I mean,
and so
I totally get that.
Yeah. I mean, so I did it. And honestly, it was a ton of fun. It really was. I got a chance to, well, for me also, it was just like, I was like, do I get to go to all the games? And they were like, yeah. And I'm like, even the away games? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, like this sounds great. Yeah. And then also for me, again, I was doing real estate while I was in college. And so it was the best networking ever because, all of the cheerleaders, they would just introduce me to everybody else.
There you go.
And so, I was having a blast in college selling real estate and doing the cheerleading thing. So I did that. I didn't do it for long. I only did it for, I want to say I did it for one football season and one basketball season. So
I got you.
But it was a ton of fun.
Yeah. And I just remember when I met you, and there was one of my buddies was actually dating a girl, Katie Stone Sykes now. Yeah. And she was a cheerleader, and we met because we started working at the same place. And Katie was like, George, what's up? How you doing? And I'm like, how do you know George?
How you guys
like,
know each other?
We were cheerleaders. And I was like, no way.
Yeah.
And again, going to A&M, women cheerleaders are just foreign to me.
Yeah, y'all got guys.
I mean,
sorry. I mean,
I know.
Sorry to A&M people.
One of those.
Maybe it's one of those traditions y'all should just forget.
So at basketball games, we do have dancers that are women, that are female, but
that's cool.
Yeah, but we didn't have. I think that's the smartest thing in the world. It's like, hey, I just moved to. So you were a sophomore when you transferred, or were you still a freshman?
So I was a sophomore. I was a sophomore when I transferred.
Okay, sophomore when you transferred.
Also, I didn't do the cheerleading thing until my senior year or whatever. It wasn't like right when I transferred.
Gotcha.
Because I got there, I was like bored. Like really bored because I've been doing sports my whole life. I was like, I don't know what, I'm just going to class. Like what else is there to do?
Yeah.
And that's when I started doing real estate. And I got really big into doing the real estate thing and doing that for like a year and a half. And then
I wish I did that when I moved to Austin.
So then, once I did that for a while, and then I just so happened to run into, her name was Mallory, but and then she was like, why don't you do this? And I'm like, you know what? And then went to it, and I'm like, this actually seems like a great idea. It seems like a fantastic idea.
First of all, love the scene. Very fun people. Yeah, I could totally see that. Like, I'm sure you had like your group of buddies and friends and stuff.
They laughed and they had lots of jokes until we all sunk up. Like I went out somewhere on 6th Street and I had, I'm with all the cheerleaders or whatever, and they're like, wow, this is awesome. I'm
mean,
like, I know. I was like, I'm thinking ahead. You guys are making fun of me.
Yeah.
I'm the one pulling all the weight over here.
There
right?
you go.
So,
yeah, no, I totally understand.
So
but I'm saying
fun.
like it was another, I mean, because like really, I just remember when I was in college and I did the fraternity Greek life things. I made all my friends like freshman year and like, like there was like, I didn't really like divert from my group of friends after that. So because I started meeting, I guess some other people, but like there was just, once you get to like junior and senior year, right? Like people are just like, they're not like trying new things a lot, right? They're not joining new associations or organizations. So, I could see like, like you're a junior, senior, and you get in with the cheerleaders and it's like, wow, like a whole new group of people to socialize with.
Yeah.
And, fun people, athletic people,
Well, and
my wife was a cheerleader in high school. So she was an athlete for a smidge, but but I mean, those college athletes, wow.
Well, along with that, it's also the alumni too. So you got to think, it's not just like the games. You're going to things, a lot of stuff that are not game related. So, like pre-game, there are things and events you go to, post-game. So you just kind of end up just networking yourself around, just meeting a lot of people, and it's just a lot of eyes on you. And so, I think if anybody's out there and whatever, I think it's a fun thing to do.
Dude, I totally
and
I'm jealous, honestly, that you were able to be around those amazing UT cheerleaders the whole time.
Well, I just didn't give a damn what anybody thought about it. I'm like, sorry, you guys aren't seeing the vision here, but
I totally respect the hell out of that for sure. Yeah. And I didn't even think about the alumni thing. I mean, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have some incredibly well-connected alumni that are probably going to all those like big events. They're up in the skybox. They're on the field. You're going to these huge, Texas X's probably.
Texas X's, those are always pre-game. And so, you go to Texas X's, you're meeting all these people.
Absolutely. You're already kind of in the real estate game and,
it's great.
You're just instantly, and now you're like, okay, like I'm trying to probably look for a job after school, and you have some instant, FaceTime with some amazing people that can probably connect you to
everything. I think set me up to be able to do when I interviewed at Insight Global. It felt so natural because I had already done real estate and I was kind of doing the cheerleading thing, and so like you're just kind of used to just you're talking to people a lot and getting comfortable with that. So that transition for me personally was very smooth and no issues or anything like that. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, absolutely. My brother went to Texas, so that's probably why I own this shirt. This shirt's like super small on me, by the way. You can tell I wear it all the time. No, he went to Texas right when I moved to Austin, and that's how I started. And honestly, one of the main reasons why I moved to Austin was I had like 3 to 4 to 5 of my best friends from high school that all went to Texas, and I just fell in love with, coming in for football games. I used to go to Roundup every year. It was always a fun time, right? I don't think they do it the same around here anymore.
Probably not. Probably not.
R.I.P. But and then just 6th Street and downtown and the whole scene. I mean, so I have to unfortunately admit that the University of Texas is probably the reason why I moved to Austin.
Well,
there you go. And my brother going there kind of reinforced it. So that's awesome. But so tell me a little bit about what you do at Insight Global now. Like what is your role?
Yep.
I know for those who don't know, Insight Global is a staffing, talent services, advanced services company. But I've worked with George in the Austin office specifically for over a decade. But tell us a little bit, because your job is a little unique, and your role has naturally moved into a different role. So I'm curious to hear about it.
Yep. So as you know, when we started the company started off as a staffing firm. I think it's still technically it's labeled as a staffing firm.
Core competency.
Core competency. Yeah. Which I think gives us a lot of edge in where we have shifted to, which is more our customers asking us for more of an advanced type of delivery model.
Yes. Okay.
Teams are more global now. Um, you know, there's a lot of governance that's needed around these teams. They're longer in duration, and the skill sets are not, you know, they're higher level, right? These are, you know, cloud engineers, DevOps. So the
IT related.
yeah, the complexity
positions.
of what they're doing and the delivery of the statement of work is just more complex than what it was 10 years ago. So as the director of client solutions, my job, I partner with our account executives and, you know, go in meetings with them that they identify to figure out what is the right solution for the customer, whether it be just straight up staff augmentation, whether it's fully outsourced managed services, or it's this middle ground of some custom hybrid managed service structure. And that middle part is where I think we have a really good advantage, because given that our core competency is staffing, we're able to build these custom teams one faster, more efficiently, because all of our technology and all of our experience as a company is in actually the recruiting part of it. That's different than a KPMG or Deloitte or Accenture, to where they have recruiting teams internally, right? They have all these people that they hire, but they don't have the ability to do it rapidly, because that's not how their systems are set up. And so I think that that's what gives Insight Global an advantage, and that's where I go on the conversations with the account executives to kind of scope that out.
So you really lean in when you're talking with the client, right? And they're looking to have some sort of, you know, project solution, or hey, you know, we're looking to accomplish, you know, X, Y, and Z. You really lean in with the fact that we are a staffing company first, and because what that means to a client is we can kind of customize this solution. It can be, you know, a fully hands-off solution to a client that we can kind of place the people, manage the people, you know, even come up with a strategy to get to X, Y, and Z. Or, you know, it can be anything in between, right? From actually placing the people.
If I was to make it super simple, I think the moat or the advantage is typically for your larger managed service companies, they have the ability to manage people really well and the teams. They don't have ability to find the people very well, which is why they come to firms like us to find them.
Gotcha.
We and companies like us have historically been very good at finding the people.
Yes.
Not necessarily at managing those people.
Right.
But that's why now that, since, in my opinion, we're doing it in this order, it gives us the ability to do an equivalent amount of work that our customers are doing, or excuse me, that our competitors are doing, but we can do it in a more cost-efficient way, because we don't have what I would consider to be margin stacking, where you have to go to, you know, another company to go, and then they have to put their margin on it, and then you have to go to somebody else to put their margin on it. We can just do it all together and just give that back to them. So anyways, it's speaking with a lot of people about that. It's strategizing. A lot of times they don't, you know, a lot of people don't know. They know what they would like to have done. They don't know how to get there though. So like, I think a lot of it's just focusing on what is the strategy, how could we execute it, what does that look like, and then once we kind of at least generally figure out a framework, then I'll go work with our back-end teams, to you know, evergreen team, and start to work through the managed service part of it.
That's cool. Yeah. Would you say that you know, having the bulk of your career working at Insight Global in Austin, Texas, the essentially, what do we call it now? The Silicon Hills, but the tech capital of Texas, right? You know, IT. You got Dell here. You're very familiar with them, I know.
Oh yeah.
They've been kind of the original. You had IBM. All these large, you know, now you have Elon Musk and Tesla here. I mean, we have all these large technology companies that have kind of made Austin what it is today for the last, you know, basically since 2000, 2001. What advantages has that, you know, given you in your job now? Like, just having the bulk of your experience working with companies here in Austin.
I mean, you know, Austin's heavy IT, you know, for sure. You know, that's not true in every, you know, like if you go to Houston, for example, one would have to assume it's oil and gas, right?
It's kind of what they're known for, right?
Right. You know, if you go to other parts of the country, they have, you know, certain things. If you go to New York, it's finances, or Miami, or Charlotte, it's finances too. So I think for where we're at right now, from a technology standpoint, I think it's been useful. You know, I do think that a lot of people don't realize that technology works, it's exponential. And so, like, you know, humans are very good at thinking only linearly. linearly.
Yeah.
Right.
Linearly.
Is there any alcohol in this? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I slipped some in there, by the way. Yeah. Little tequila, because I know you're. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, but everything is technology is on an exponential curve, and so right now, with the Chat GPTs and with a lot of this, LLMs and some of the compute that's required for this. I mean, it's pretty incredible, and I have this kind of mental model of every 3 years is probably going to look very, very different than the prior 3 years. So it's not very good to think linearly anymore. It's better to just try to play out an exponential game. But humans are very, very bad at that. So, that being said, I think it's a fun time to be in technology. But I mean, we even know it now, right? With everything that we're doing internally with our digital team and some of the things. I mean, it's just like, you played this forward another year or two, you're like, oh my, wow, this is going to look
totally different.
Really, really different, of how we are as a company. And so I'm just playing that out with, not only our customers, but who they serve and, end users. And, I think it's fascinating. That's why I really enjoyed working with the company, because you get a chance to, we're in the arena, quite literally in the arena, staffing these teams and building them out. So we know where this is going,
For sure.
So it's cool to see it.
Yeah. And I obviously there's the San Franciscos of the world, the Seattle, Washingtons, even you can consider even New York City, right? Major IT innovation hubs, right, of the United States. But I feel like, even myself, I've moved to healthcare now, but, for the first 11 and a half years of my career, it was all IT based. And being in Austin, Texas, and the business that we're in, staffing and advanced solutions from a technical perspective, I think it gave us a leg up on, we have 5 other markets in Texas that we service, but I think being in Austin gave us a leg up because of all these companies we mentioned before, and even more startups. I feel like AI is exploding here, like startup companies here. But I feel like that's given us a leg up, just to see these solutions. I just remember seeing infrastructure seemed to be my thing. That's what all my clients were. Yeah. And I just remember hearing about a containerization, like Kubernetes and Docker and those, kind of humongous, game changing technologies for the infrastructure world 6 years ago. And then 3 years later, and then it was everywhere else. Right. So I feel like there was, I feel like just being in Austin, Texas has allowed us to stay a little bit ahead of the curve. Yeah. Because there's all these, unique, especially in the state, right. In Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, et cetera. Because everything is just such a tech centered town that the new things that are being tried and innovation are being tried here.
You made a good point, which is you said infrastructure, and I think some of the companies in Austin, they are the actual physical infrastructure of a lot of the things that we're talking about. So
True.
We think of software and whatever, but there's somewhere there is a real data center with real physical things, with actual atoms, that are required to build something. And a lot of the companies like a Dell or even a Google or Apple or whatever, they have to have the physical product, and that's what's here. And something else that this is one of those exponential things, but I think in the next 3 to 5 years, I actually said this on one of my presentations a couple months ago, and I think it went totally over the head of the audience I had. But I was they were asking, what do you see, what are you seeing 2 to 3 years out within your industry? And
this is for a client presentation.
This is for a client presentation.
Okay, gotcha.
So I was like, well, it's as we were talking about exponentials, I think one that people really haven't thought through is, you had this whole crypto thing, and a lot of it's crap, right? But there is some real things in there. So one, stable coins, and then having Bitcoin as a store of value. So just play this out. You all of a sudden over the next year to 3 years, you now have a Bitcoin that allows you to have a store value to where anybody in any currency can put it there, just in a digital realm. And then you have stable coins to where you can have a medium of exchange that can be sent anywhere globally. You have Starlink with Elon Musk of the satellites that are now probably within, well, they already have worldwide internet, but like within, let's say, the next year to 2 years is fully, integrated to where you can have a lot of bandwidth on there. So for what we do, you start to think that out. You're like, okay. So you're telling me you could potentially start to really build out global teams, pay them not through some bank or like you could pay a team in Nigeria or something like that just as easy as me sending you money, like right here to you.
Right.
They have full access to the internet, right? So anybody that has the ability or the knowledge, geography is no longer a constraint. We saw that with remote work anyways, but it just goes global. These are kind of some incredible things. And then the last one was, we'll see where it goes, but I'm really excited to see Apple's VR headset they have coming out, because, you start to play that out. You're like, wow, okay, well, right now we all sit in front of a desktop or whatever. What happens when you can just be anywhere? You just kind of put this thing on, and then you have like an entire workspace that's like right here in your face, and you can work. What does that do to somebody that's, in Africa or anywhere else in the Middle East or whatever, and you could just hand them to this, and now they're able to instantly plug into the network and get paid in real time, right? In any currency of their choosing. Like, that's where this is going, and that has profound impact on staffing and what we do and how you build out teams. And so
that's amazing.
I think I said it, and they were just like, that's not what we were expecting.
I'm sitting over
like,
here.
You asked me, I was like, I'm going to tell you.
I'm sitting over here, and like, my neurons are going off for sure, just like thinking about that. And we're gonna get to crypto, I promise you. But I mean, like, okay, so basically, you're saying, and again, this kind of goes to why, like remote work started it. People can sit from anywhere. That's helped us a lot in staffing, because it opens up our pool where, honestly, there was only a handful of companies, right, before the pandemic forced them to move to remote workers that were actually hiring 100% remote workers. Before, it was what? They can sit remote, but I need them to be in Austin. And because, every once in a while, the worst excuse I feel like I always got from clients is, well, they need to be in Austin because they have to pick up their equipment. And I'm like,
that's what FedEx
dude,
is
I'll
for.
pick it up and freaking ship it to the guy.
Like,
no, you don't understand. They got to be on our infrastructure, and they got to get on our Wi-Fi. I had a client that used to do that, and I was like, you are not helping me. You're not saving any money, first of all, because that's another reason to hire remote employees, is so you can go into, Austin's expensive. It's gotten more expensive since the pandemic.
Right.
You can go into, more cost efficient, cost of living markets. So you're totally wiping that out. And, that's the whole point. Like the whole point is to open up for recruiters and staffing, account managers, salespeople like us. Like, let's open up the pool.
Right.
So that's number one. And the pandemic, luckily, one of the pros of the pandemic is just open that up.
It pulled it forward. I mean, we were headed that way anyways, but I remember when we first started the pandemic, I had this like kind of I was counting down in my head. I felt like for every month that we actually stayed in lockdown, I felt like it was pulling forward about 4 months of whatever the change would be. So what were the trend? So I don't know, what were we locked down for, like 12? Was it 12 months or something like that?
It seemed like
it was like from like. It was March 2020
It was the second weekend of March, or
all
the
the way
second week of March. The reason I understand this because I went to a bachelor party the week before. And people were like, "This thing's gonna blow over, right?" And then we didn't go RTO, like return to office, until June of the next year.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
People were coming back in, there was pockets of people going back at the end of 2020, and then I think Delta came and ruined that, and then. It was 2021, probably Q2 2021.
That sounds about right. So like in my head, I was like, okay, great. Well, then we just pull forward probably 4 to 5 years, right? Yeah. What we probably would have ended up at this spot anyways, probably by 2025, I guess, probably would have been, but we pulled it forward.
Yeah.
True. And so,
There you go. But what you're saying is even so obviously we have the ability to work remotely, and we just kind of started going into the like we've done international staffing, but like not really. Now we're like full-fledged going into international staffing.
Hundreds.
You're saying cryptocurrency can even make that even easier from exchange of services and goods with international partners.
Well, let me give you an example. So, if we want to go into Brazil or something right now, okay, so it's not like you can just take a US dollar and just send it to somebody that works in Brazil. Yeah. You have to go to Bank of America, and Bank of America's got to do some transfer
foreign transaction
foreign
fees,
transaction.
and all the BS.
You got all these people in the middle, those little rent seekers that are they got to take their little slice of of the pie. And a dollar over there.
I had to press a button to convert it from U.S. dollars to Colombian pesos. I get my cut.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's insane. And for anybody that's like, out there that like doesn't really understand this, I'll give you one that will be very easy for you to do. If you take a trip to Europe and you want to go get some money, like actual physical little dollars or whatever, euros.
Yeah.
Go to the airport, take $400 of U.S. dollars, exchange it for some euros, see how much you get back. Don't spend any of those euros when you go to Europe. Come back and try to exchange back to your own currency. You will almost have half of what you had just swapping back and forth between, because all these leeches have to take
the exchange rate.
Exchange rate, right?
The exchange rate.
So, and then you have your own exchanges of those countries because they all have their own, fiat currencies, whatever. So, but let's say you abstract that and say now all of a sudden, wow, okay, so you're telling me not going through a bank, somebody can just have an app, have Cash App or something, and I can just send them a digital US dollar to their Cash App that has the same, buying power or whatever you want to call it, without having to go through one of those banks. Okay, that's powerful, because now that means that we can build out a team at a more cost-effective, level than we could before, because those are as a business, we have to factor all those risks in when we go to build out teams.
Right.
So that to me is where it becomes very interesting. Now the derivative question is, it's like, okay, well, let's say somebody makes their money and their bank is hostile to some type of stable coin or whatever. They want to be able to store their money in something. You don't want to really store it in the dollar either, because although it's better than all the rest of the currencies, if you're in America and you go look at your houses, they all are up 50% than they were, 4 years ago. Yeah, right. And I can assure you it's not because your house is that much better than it was 4 years ago. It's because your dollar has lost its purchasing power. Yeah. So you really don't, for the long term, want to keep it in dollars either. Right. And we all intuitively know that because we go invest in the stock market, bonds, treasuries. We literally do everything to get out of it. Right. Right. And buy homes.
Diversification.
There you go. Right. And we go buy real estate. Okay. So now all of a sudden you have somebody that gets paid in Brazil, they get their stable coin, they get their whatever, and they want to store their monetary energy in something. Now they have this thing called Bitcoin that is universal and accepted anywhere globally, that it's doesn't have to go through a bank, and so they can just with the click of a button move their money into something that can just be there. It's just there and can last through time at some other point when they want to spend it, which is, I know I've heard a lot of people say, well, what do you do with it? I'm like, it's savings. It's like, you're asking like, well, what do you do with your savings? I'm like, I don't know, buy a boat, like at some other point, pay for your kids to go to college, just store your energy somewhere. Yeah. So that to me is where
but it's different. I think it's different than savings though, because again, to your point, like it's US dollars is constantly losing its value every year. So if you keep your savings in, you get some BS, interest rate, like you're actually losing money, right? Where, would you say, George got me on cryptocurrency, by the way. But like, I feel like it's always been like, and I think it's even you has always described it to me as like digital gold, right? It's like a true asset as a store of value, like you said. Yeah. And based on, and it's a finite amount, right? And that's the whole point. Especially with Bitcoin.
Yeah, the finiteness of it is what. So the leap that everybody has to make in their head with Bitcoin is it's finite, and that you have to go down the rabbit hole of what is actual money. Like what is it that we're trying to do? And we're all trying to just store our excess energy that we, make every time we get a paycheck. we need to put it in something that holds its value, right? We're not even actually trying to make more. We're just trying to not lose, right?
Yeah,
Because if your currency keeps devaluing, then you lose. And so when you think of like, well, what, like, how do humans decide like what actually holds its value? That's when Bitcoin starts to make a little bit more sense, because you're like, well, it's really just energy.
Yeah.
Right. Like the reason you put it in real estate or some big condo or whatever is because there's no way to really cheat it. Like it just takes an absurd amount of energy to build these buildings. It takes a lot of energy to go mine gold, and there's no way to cheat it. It's like physics.
Yeah.
You know, you can't cheat mining gold. Now, if the price of gold goes up like a ton, yes, they will go mine more of it. But even that is still constrained because you can't find it fast enough.
Correct.
And so, as silly as it sounds, like have a piece of gold metal or whatever, it's the fact that we all know through time how hard it is to make something or get this object, right? That's a store value. Yeah. And so when you can extract that to the fact that you can take something physical and make it digital, that's what Bitcoin is. It's like, you know, you hear it uses all this energy and you're like, it's just wasteful energy. And it's like, no, just think about what you're saying. It uses a lot of energy to make a Bitcoin.
Right.
And so it's like, wait, so you're telling me it takes a lot of energy to make it, and there's a finite amount of it.
So it's scarce and it's hard to make.
You cannot cheat it. The only way you can get it is either to trade your currency for it, either to go out and buy one of these ASIC miners and you mine it, or you get into the computational game to make it. Yeah. And so when you realize what we've done, it's like, oh my God, like we just created a store value that's in a digital form, but it's tied to physical energy that can't be cheated through time, right? Like, I mean, there's no other point in time where, you know, it's physics, right? Like things can only move at the speed of light, and like that's just the law. And so, so long as everybody knows that you can't cheat it, you really should start to play the exponential game to say, okay, this is interesting.
It's worth dipping a toe in at least.
It's what it's worth is reading about it, right? Yeah. And reading books and trying to understand it. And the more you understand it, the more incredibly profound you realize, like, oh my God, like this is a big one. And as this catches on and all the other things we were talking about with like global internet and, you know, again, coming back to staffing, what we do and building out teams, I'm just like, oh my God, like this is something way, way different. And what staffing is or building out teams looks like in maybe 5 years it ain't gonna look like it does now.
I gotcha. Okay, so last question, series of questions for you about cryptocurrency. So like, what strategies are you doing now? Where do you think, let's say, crypto or Bitcoin is going, and is Texas making it friendlier for cryptocurrency, or is it pushing back on it?
I just feel like Texas as a state has always been open-minded. Yeah. And, you know, I think there's a level of independence that we have as a state. Right. And so I think there's a level of people kind of understanding, like, you know, like we don't want anybody messing with our money a little bit. And so
we've always had that mantra. Yeah. It's like, just leave us alone. Yeah. And it's fine. I mean, let us be weird.
Aren't we the only state that has weird? We're the only state that has like our own electrical grid, right? Like, I mean, like ERCOT is, I think, like, it's not connected to anybody else. It's like, no, we're ready to succeed.
Which has its pros, and what we definitely know from 2021, its major cons.
It has some trade-offs, but we are ready to succeed at any time, right? Like, come at us. So, you know, I feel like that's kind of the ethos of Texas, and I do feel like it's been, it seems to be very friendly to it. And so
that's good.
Yeah. You know, Austin's a big home for blockchain technology. And so I actually I find it non-ironic, the fact of like a lot of technology companies here are building the physical infrastructure to all the things that we like. Yep. And I think this blockchain stuff, I don't think it's any different. It's right here in Austin, Texas is where the heart of it's at. And we'll see where it goes, man. I'm bullish.
Very good.
I'm bullish.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, we'll leave it there, man. I appreciate you coming on, giving your perspective as a friend, as a colleague, as a cryptocurrency investor, and overall just an incredible guy. So thanks for coming on, George.
Awesome,
and
brother.
putting Texas on my mind with me, brother.
There we go.
All right.
All right, man.
All right. Sounds good.